Good morning. Good morning. Let's pick up where we left off earlier this week, doing some block practice. Today is Saturday, March 28th. So we're going to be covering more of the block practice. Starting in January, we went over Hogan's 5 lessons where we spent 30 minutes a day working on the grip, practicing a perfect grip. That was for a week. And then we spent 30 minutes a day working on a perfect stance and posture, making sure that we have a stable body. And that was for a week. And then we spent 30 minutes a day working on the backswing for a week, 30 minutes a day. And then we spend 30 minutes away working on the downswing and the follow through and the finish. And then this week, we worked on some block practice to really break those backswing and downswing movements down to where we had to set up the backswing, squat to square, and then post up. And I want to really cover today pushing from the right side versus pulling from the left side. When you get this left side to pull, post up, and turn open, and then we're going to look at the left arm only, and then where the weight is on the feet during the swing. It's going to be pretty critical. We'll cover all that stuff. So just to recap, shoulder blade back, behind the head, load up, push the weight down. So the weight of my feet, if I split my ankle in half on both sides, on the front and the back, I always want the weight on the inside half of the ankles. That's where the weight is on the inside. Now front to back, I want to make sure that the weight is right here in the center, just in front of my ankle bone. Now when I take my backswing, I'm going to drive the weight to the inside of the ball. As I pull the shoulder back, I'm going to drive the weight to the inside of this foot here. And then I'm going to load up on my glute and just, there's no swaying, but it's just simply, when we did this, when everyone did this test here, I wanted to see how much internal and external rotation of this joint here. That's what we're doing. We're just loading up. And so I pull the shoulder back, load my weight up there. That's the backswing. And then we talked about adding in the club. Just to get to here, it's going to be pretty heavy, so I brace it with there. And so we'll recover how simple it is just to do the arms to where you bend the right arm, slightly externally rotate open. You take the left arm, shoulder height, so from here, shoulder height, and then right across your chest in the middle. If you put your hands together, that's really what the hands and arms are doing on the backswing. So they're the back of the biceps connected to the chest. I bend the right arm 90 degrees. Externally rotate open a little bit. Straighten out the left arm up and right across my chest. And I just take a thick grip with my hands. That's what my arms are doing when I pull the left shoulder behind my head. You guys can literally do this 5 minutes of block practice in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, and it only takes 3,000 to 5,000 perfect repetitions for it to become an unconscious, subconscious habit. So you no longer have to think about a new swing. We're building, and so if you've done Ben Hogan's 5 lessons training with me since the beginning of the year, you would have a really good head start on what the hands, arms, and shoulders, and hips are supposed to be doing in the backswing. and then the start of the downswing. So we're going to look at the start of the downswing. So we covered 3 simple moves: setup, takeaway, transition, squat to square. Squat to square, from square here, shoulders are back here. They're not turning, but they are being turned. They're being turned, and then I just post up, and turn. I'm going to post up and straighten this leg, this lead leg, and turn. And so I want to be aware of where's the weight on my lead foot on the backswing and the start of the downswing, through impact and finish. So as I get to the backswing and I squat to square, I'm driving the weight to the ball, this lead foot. That's a squat down, that's a squat to square. Then I'm going to post up, and then I'm going to put majority of the weight front to back, right in the middle, right where I was at address. And so then this knee, we're driving the knee open, and we're posting up, we're turning open the hips, and then right there, that would be impact. So those are the 3 moves. Pull the shoulder back, load up on the right leg, squat to square, post up. Now, all we have to do is release. And so this is what you're going to want to do this week, is work on, when you get to here, squat to square, post up. Notice how my body's not moving, I'm just releasing the club. A lot of what your old swings look like is you would, not only you would release the club, but you'd also keep turning your hips, and the hips can't move as fast as the arms and club head at impact. And so you're going to want, in the kinematic sequence, squat to square, post up, and then you would fire and release, and then you would continue with the hips, because as these hips get to here posting up, they're slowing down as this is speeding up, and then the hips continue rotating. So you can work on a little bit of release. Just take your left-handed grip from the side view here. I can take my thumb off of it and just grip it like a baseball bat, and you'll see that as I start down with my squat to square and post up, you'll see that this leg, this club, it's not being cast out here. The lag is staying there. And that's what you need, is lag, so that you can then release, and you're basically taking, I did that training where we had rotational, perpendicular, and you're taking and cocking, and you're uncocking, and you're basically taking this hand and you're just rolling it, because we turn it on the backswing and we roll it on the downswing, but it's not a flip, it's just rolling with my entire body. So I encourage you to work on getting the club up here and just releasing with the left hand, releasing. As you notice, this is pointing towards you, and my pointing towards you from the camera here. So this is 12 o'clock. So right now, the backswing, back of my left hand is facing out, and by the time I finish the swing, the palm is facing out. That's a good release. Release. And then you get the right hand on here. And when we do these block practice where we just get the hand up here, I let my hand just hold there. This is the drill we did last week where we just started pulling back and put an arm here, pulling back and put an arm here. We put the club right in our hand. That club's going to be heavy, so we want to hold it there. We can do the same thing with the release drills. Is as you get back to the top, lightly put your right hand on there, and then take and throw the right hand off here, and just take the right hand off, and practice releasing, because if we look at pushing, if you were to push a golf cart or to pull a golf cart, which one's easier? It's much easier to pull something than to push something. So if it's easier to pull, that means you're going to get more efficiency and more speed. And so we'll look at pulling, and we talk about pulling the left arm down. Really what we're looking at is when I get to here and I squat the square, this lead hip is pulling. I can feel my abs contracting, is pulling. The outside hip is pulling the inside knee, pulling. I'm pushing up and I'm turning open. So you pull from the left side. This is why the PGA Tour professionals are so darn good, is they're pulling from the left side. They're pulling from the left side versus pushing from the right side. Yeah, Lee Trevino won 9 majors from pushing from the right side. Arnold Palmer won quite a few majors from pushing from the right side. Those guys were both hitters. So there's pulling power and there's pushing power. Randy talked about it the other day where he was able to get his arm up here and then just push with tricep. That's muscle power. You can play great golf either way, pushing or pulling. But for this full game, this training series, we get back to here, squat to square, post up. Now I'm in a position, all I have to do is just release the club. So I want you to practice getting in the post up, squat to square, post up position, and then just practice releasing. And then do one arm releasing. One arm releasing. Everything's moving together. I'm going to squat the square, post up, release. Then you can take 2 hands. Right arm, right hand is just barely holding on the club. There's no overtaking with the right hand. It's just barely holding on. Squat the square, post up, release. If you look at Hogan's book, he said he wished he had 2 right hands, and he talked about that sidearm basketball throwing motion. This is the release action. We talked about power accumulators and pressure points. Accumulation of power is cocking the left wrist and turning the forearm back. That's power right there, and you're releasing the power. So it's super important that we continue to do block practice in a mirror, face on, down the line, get some camera set up so you can see yourself, and do the drills to where this is the backswing. My weight is loaded up on my glute. I can feel the inside muscles of my right leg. The majority of the weight's just an inch inside my ankle bone. Squat the square. I drive the weight to the ball of my left foot. Once it's driven there, I'm going to continue. This is squat square. I'm going to continue to post up, and I'm going to pull this left hip open, straighten out my leg, and that's that pulling action. And that's going to continue to lag the club head behind. And then here, this is impact right there, and then I just have to release. And you can practice releasing with an impact bag. We've done these drills before to where I can turn 45 degrees, bow. That's the position I want to be in. I'm going to put my arm right next to my left hand right next to my right leg, and I'm just going to do this. So if I put this right off my right foot, my left foot, my lead foot. I take and I turn 45 degrees, I bow, that's my golf posture, that's my backswing. I take my left hand, put it right next to my leg, and all I'm doing is this. I'm not swinging my arm just from this position. I'm working on releasing the club. And my lower body. Remember this squat to square post up move? Squat. So here, squat to square, post up move, all from right there. Just training the release, how to release the club. I can do the same thing with the right arm. Bow 45, I can turn 45 degrees and bow. I'm in my golf posture on the backswing. My right arm is right next to my club, my leg, and all I'm doing is working on the release. Where's my weight? 85% of the weight is on my lead side. I've been posted up. The hip is open. This is impact and release. You can straighten both your left and right forearms. So we really look at power accumulation. When we cock this left wrist, that's power accumulation number 2, and we've got to release that power, and you can use the impact bag. Hey, good morning, Tom. Good morning, Stephen. So this is just a recap of what we started last week. Pushing versus pulling. I can push with muscle power. I can come right from the top, and I can just straight line fire that right shoulder into the ground. But I want to get up on track. I want to talk about block practice, building a backswing to where all you have to do is get in your stance and posture, pull your right shoulder behind your head. That's the backswing. Your weight's loaded up. The weight's on the inside of the right leg. Probably right here in the center of the ankle is where my weight's at. Back here, I can do this. How many times in a minute can I do this? At least 20. So if you do this whole sequence here, squat to square, post up, you can do at least 20 of those in a minute. 20 times 5 minutes is 100. If you did it twice a day, that's 200. If you did it for 15 days, that's 3,000 perfect repetitions. It takes 3,000 to 5,000 perfect repetitions to make it a perfect subconscious habit. Here, squat to square, post up. Here, squat to square, post up. You got to do this over and over and over. If you've done this since Tuesday or Wednesday when I did the last training, you've probably done it 1,000 times by now. You only have 2,000 more to go before it becomes perfect. And then you can add in the elements of the golf club. Here, golf club's heavy, so I'm going to put my hands right here. Squat to square, post up. And then all I do is release. 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 Where's the weight on the left foot? During all this, as I get back here, the weight's on the ball on the left foot. Then when I squat to square, I'm driving that weight to the inside of the ball on the left foot. And then as I get in post up and turn my hips, it's equally positioned on my entire foot. And then as I get to impact and then I release, the weight rolls to the outside heel. After practicing these movements this week, I could draw the ball so much easier rather than weak slides. It is great. Yeah, Stephen, kick ass. Yeah, and once you also work on that release sequence, because if you just see here, when I get into this position to where backswing, squat to square, post up. Now watch my lower body not move. That's just a release. It's going to happen. And you train your hand your left arm to release, and then continue to swing. Squat square, post up, post up, post up, post up, pull from the left side, post up and turn, and then release. Yeah, good feedback, Stephen. It was easier with an iron. Then I put a driver in my hands and it felt more awkward. Well, it's more awkward. Timings. Timings. It's going to take longer to swing a 46-inch driver, or however long it is. Iron versus a driver. It's going to take a long time. That's why we're training the body without a club for 3,000 times. So if you did this, here, squat to square, post up. Squat to square, post up. And you held this position, then eventually when you put clubs in your hand, this way. Squat to square, post up, release. So it's different timings. And then if you're having a little bit more challenge with that, what I also recommend you doing is Excalibur's sword, to where we've been talking about squat to square, post up, right? This is post up with a club in your hand is the exact same as impact fixed. Post up, I'm at impact fixed. From this position, you could start in this position here, and then you would do what I call Excalibur's sword. From here, you're in your post up position, impact fixed position. You simply, from this starting position, pull this club and finish your swing as hard and quick as possible. Do that 35 times. Number one, you'll be tired. Number two, you're training your brain and body to finish the swing. Then you can get here. And then when you do your swings, when you take your driver practice swings, hold that. When you hit a drive, if it's shitty, decent, or great, do not come out of this position until the ball lands on the ground. Train your brain to hold this position. I am perfectly balanced. Train your brain to be this way. Hold the position all the way through until the ball lands. Practice this. This takes a lot of balance and stability and coordination and flexibility. This is why we do the Excalibur drill, to make sure when we get to this squat to square, right, we're all good at getting the squat to square, and then we finish our swing, and this is where our hips stay. We're all good at this. That's the problem. You're too good at this versus pushing up and turning and then finishing and releasing. This is where we've got to go. You've been practicing from beginning to swing to backswing to impact all your life and been stopping at impact. We've got to get through and train the body to get to here. Everybody knows how to get to impact, not properly, but you know how to get there. So start here and do this 50 times a day for a week. This goes back to the other thing, step change direction drill. The problem that we all have is getting our weight to the left side. Getting your weight to your left side. So you can, left arm only, I can come here, practice getting my weight to my left side. It's also the step change direction drill to where this is where the ball is at address. So I pull my foot back here, and as I get my club here, I step change direction in here. So the step change direction drill. So add the step change direction drill to as you pull your shoulder back, you're loaded up, squat to square, post up, now you're ready at impact, and all you got to do is release. So just break down this entire swing piece by piece by piece and train the living dickens out of it. Let's see if we got any good questions here. Hey Dave, hello Todd. So this was just a recap and some additional training that we did earlier this week about how to build, a perfect golf swing for your body. There's an infinite number of ways to swing a golf club. That's why we don't do a lot of, hey, you need to put yourself here, or you need to put yourself here. You're going to put yourself there based on what your body's capable of doing, but everybody can do this with the right arm. Everybody can slightly open their forearm. Everybody can lift their left arm up in the air and put it right in front of their chest. Now you marry these two hands together, that's the perfect backswing. Everybody can bend their right fucking arm and externally rotate. Everybody can put their arm up here and put it right across here. That's what the arms are doing in the backswing. So, you can simply do this. Right shoulder glide, right shoulder back, right shoulder back. You put your left arm across remember we just said up and across. Put your left arm up and across. There it is. Left arm's up and across. Everybody can do that. So just train it. Everybody can take the right arm and bend it and externally rotate it a little bit. So, arm up across, externally rotated, right shoulder back. Everybody can do that. Well, if you want to make it a subconscious habit so you're not thinking about it when you're playing golf or on the practice or training grounds practicing performance, then do this. How many times can you do this? 1, 2, 3. That took me a second. You can do it 30 seconds. You can do 30 reps a minute. Times 5 minutes, 150. Times 10 times, 10 days is 1,500. 20 days, you can do 3,000 reps. Just this. Now, that's what the arms are doing during the backswing. Now, what's the body doing? Shoulder, hips lowered up here, squat to square. That's simple. Get your weight to the left side. How do you get your weight to the left side? Step change direction drill. Boom. 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 Step change direction drill. Squat to square. Post up. Post up. Post up. You're taking this hip. Boom. Joint. And you can take the lead leg. You're going to drive the weight to the ball of the left foot. Boom. The weight's driven there. Open the knee up. Take your knee and just do this. Do the Elvis Presley. Whatever you call it. Take this knee and open it up. Because right now in the backswing, it's inside, and then I just get it back to being perfectly straight. And then I straighten it up, open the hip up, boom. That's impact fixed. Excalibur sword drill. 1, 2, 3. Pull it out as fast and hard as you possibly can, and get those hips to fire open. Get your weight up. Train the body, and if you're incapable of doing that, go back to the fitness training you did on Thursday. If you're not sore or tired from that training, you probably didn't push yourself hard enough. And then the release. I've got an old army bag. I've got carpet inside there. You can buy an impact bag, you can get an old rubber tire. I can turn and bow. I'm going to turn. Why am I turning? That's my backswing. I'm going to turn 45 degrees and bow. That's my backswing. Now I have the right arm here, tucked into my side. There's not a lot of movement. I'm just training my right forearm. Remember we talked about right forearm back, right forearm square impact. Here it is, right forearm back, square impact. Notice how I post up my leg, the hips are wide open. Do that 100 times in a day. You'll get some strong forearms. Turn and bow. Left arm. It's a little bit more challenging. Everybody has a weak left arm. Post it up. Square hips. Squat to square. Boom. Squat to square release. Right there. Release in the club. So when you put it all together, pull the shoulder back. I'm loaded up on my right side. Squat to square. Post up. Release. Slow motion. Squat to square. Post up. Post up. You really want to make sure that you post up and you turn this hip open. Post up. Release. 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 Release with just the left arm. Release with just the left arm. I encourage you to do, if you're having a hard time releasing that ball, releasing the club head, I would do 50 of these a day. Nice slow motion. My hips are squatting and squaring. I'm posting up, and the arm is just trailing behind, and I'm just releasing. The left side is pulling. I'm not pushing anything. I'm just being pulled. The arm is being pulled off the chest. Everything's being pulled. I can add in the right hand, just a light grip. I can just get it up to here. I can put it on there lightly, get it up to here, and just throw it off there. Notice how the right hand comes right across. It's coming, it's not staying under, it's getting squared up, and then it's going with my body. It's going with my body. So we talked about this rotational in one of the trainings last month. I get to here, release, release, release. And then after you train that thousands of times, because it does not take a lot of time to do slow motion block practice to train these, then I can simply forget about everything I just learned and take a few practice swings, step up to the target, look at the ball, align up to it, go through my routine, confirm it, and send it. I do not hit a lot of golf balls. There's no need to hit a lot of golf balls. What I do is I train my brain and my body and become a master with my arms and my hands in this club, shaft, head, and face. Because then what happens when I train my brain and my body to do this 3,000 to 5,000 times perfectly, the ball is just going to get in the way because I practiced the stance and posture 1,000 times. I practiced ball position 1,000 times. Then all I have to do is take a practice swing, have good timings, and then just step up. For me, I'm going to look at the 430 line. And if I hit a good shot, I relive it. If I hit a bad shot, I fix it. And I rinse and repeat over and over and over. Anybody have any questions? This is a fun training. It's an easy training Easy meaning how easy is it to go like this? How easy is the squat and square? Allow my shoulders to be turned, but not turning them. Squat and square, get my weight to the left side. Post up, meaning I straighten out my left leg, and I open up the hips, and that's it. So if you hit a bad shot of the golf swing, put the club in the bag, practice this, practice this, practice this, and then release. All right. So that's what I have for you today. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments. If you need any help from me, send me a message. If you want to get on my calendar, Zoom with Dean. And let's do this. Want a big shout out to Stephen Foling for kicking ass. Big shout out to Randy down in Texas, our Army Ranger, who is just crushing the ball. As I put in his post, he's something like 56 years young, and he's in the best shape of his life because of the flexibility training. You guys, if you're older and you have issues with your back or shoulders or in pain, go back into the announcements tab, look for the training on 24 range of motion flexibility, and go through the building phase. The building phase is tough, man. You might have to do an hour a day for 6 weeks. I know I did 2 hours a day for about 6 weeks. But it was worth it. So you guys have a great weekend, and drink your coffee as the best putter in your area, as the best ball striker. And then when things get back to normal, go out and kick ass and make some birdies. Stay safe.